They have told me that I'm not allowed to walk out there because I'm not in the light. So I will do this from here for a minute. I've done a few presentations since I've been here. And I think this is the hardest one I've ever done. Half of it's going to be on business, and half of it is going to be on politics. And things are not going well in this country. I've come here now, I've done about 10 years of these. And every time I do it, I get up and I tell a whole bunch of jokes. And people laugh, and then they go away and they say it's entertaining. And I don't want to be entertaining this time. I want to be informative this time. Because I'm frightened about where the direction is right now. And I'm frightened about the lack of civility, and I'm frightened about the lack of respect. And I'm frightened about the sense of betrayal that so many Americans have. And it's very hard for me to function when this has been my life for not just my adult life, but my childhood. And I want you to see, and I'm trying to always figure out how to start this. And normally I start with a joke, and I don't have one today. So what I'd like to do is I want you to pull up the presentation, pull up the PowerPoint. I don't quite know what order I'm going to go in. That was a nice looking slide. I want to show you where Americans stand and what's happening. If you are one of these professions, stand up. If one of these professions in this room, stand up. And the rest of you should applaud them. Because these are the professions that people respect, and I'm appreciative particularly that there are those in uniform here. Because you are the most overworked and underpaid profession that I know. And I have the right to be irresponsible, I have the right to be ridiculous, I have the right to be everything that I am because of you guys in uniform. And we cannot thank you enough for what you do. And you're the best at it. Now I want you to look at this set. If you're one of these professions, stand up. Okay, if you are standing, get out. I want you to look at bankers and financial consultants. 2%. 2% of Americans respect you all the most. Your own family doesn't respect you. Now, but take a look at what this represents. And by the way, we've got a seat right here. We've got 3 seats that are right over there. We've got 1 seat that's here. If you have an empty seat next to you, raise your hands. Anyone who's sitting in the back or anyone who's over here who wants a seat, I want to make sure that people get a chance to sit. I'll do this again in about 3 minutes as people continue to gather. We don't trust politicians. We don't trust financial institutions. And the whole purpose of this presentation is to give you the language to build that trust. But you have to deserve it. It's not enough for you to have the right words. It's not enough for you to communicate effectively. You have to deserve that trust. You have to earn it. If there's one thing I want to shock you and scare you and upset you and frighten you, we ask this question of 18 to 29-year-olds. Which economic system is the most compassionate? 9% chose communism, 33% chose capitalism, 58% socialism. We've lost. We're not losing, we have lost. The education in this system, what kids are taught right now, 18 to 29-year-olds, is that socialism is preferable. This is not Bernie Sanders. By the way, Bernie Sanders is so old, it takes him an hour and a half to watch 60 Minutes. His favorite painting is The Last Supper. Look carefully, he's the second waiter from the left. Okay, that one didn't work. How about this one? My goal in life is to be Secretary of Agriculture in the Sanders administration so that I could be the one to plant the magic trees where all that free shit grows from. Let the record show that I'm the first one in this conference to use the word shit, and I did it twice in the same presentation. Do you understand the significance of this? The business community has done nothing to explain what it does and how it does it. Has done nothing to deserve the respect of either consumers or employees. and it drives me crazy. Here's another one for you. It's corporate America in Washington. Everything that's right or wrong about America. Corporate America, 64% wrong, 36% right. Do you understand that 18 to 29-year-olds, if they're sitting in this room right now, they don't like you. And they don't appreciate you, and you're the ones who are creating the jobs for them and creating the opportunities for them. Who in this room is 18 to 29? Raise your hands. Well, you're just so screwed. But it gets even worse still because we've lost trust. Now, if any of you have seen this, don't respond. I'll say one more time. If you've seen this, don't respond. Does that frog live or die? Raise your hands if you think the frog lives. Raise your hand if you think the frog dies. No, a bunch of pessimists. If you think the frog lives, stand up. If you think the frog lives, stand up. Now stay standing because you're correct. Why does the frog live?
I'm thinking it cleans the teeth of the alligators.
You think it cleans the teeth of the alligator, and you're the Arizona treasurer? No wonder your state's going bankrupt. Sit down. Cleans the teeth of the alligator. That's disgusting. Okay, military. Why does the frog live? You don't know. Well, that's a good answer when you get captured, but that doesn't work for this ear. Down. Why does the frog live? Jumps out of the mouth. Reasonably good answer, but incorrect. Down. Sir, why does the frog live?
Well, he's alive now, so I assume he's probably going to be alive.
You assume he's going to live. That's a really bad answer. Down. Military, why does the frog live? Because he's on a slide that says trust. You clearly do not know me well at all. You know what? What I said about the military before, we're in deep trouble. Down. Why does the frog live? Photoshop. What are you, cynic? Down, incorrect. Okay, why does the frog live? Poisonous. Nope, down. Why does the frog live? Because he's not the, what, explain? He's not the prey of an alligator. You don't think the alligator eats frogs? Where are you from? You don't know where you're from. You're from where? You're from Los Angeles? I don't even know what to say to you. But it's not correct. Down. We're going to do two more. Why does not you? Why does the frog live?
I don't know, but I've seen the slide before.
You've seen the slide, so you've been through this, and you still don't know. Dude, lay off the Viagra. Down. Ma'am, why does the frog live? Yes. Ma'am, why does the frog live? Poisonous. We already did that one already. Sir, with a beard, why does the frog live? Because he's not food stuff. That's really your answer. Alligators don't eat frogs? We did that one also. What company do you work for? Your own. I wouldn't invest. Last one. Last one. No, you're seated, so you don't count. Military. Why does the frog live? And by the way, our hopes and dreams rest on your shoulders.
Because you have a message you want to convey to us.
Yes, that is correct. Now let's try one more time. Why does the frog live? Who said that? Okay. The great sportcaster Jim Gray gave the correct answer that the alligator is dead. Now here's the problem. Jim has sat through this for half a dozen times, and this is the first time he actually got it right. You guys can have a seat. When I ask you about the frog, the life and death of the frog isn't about the frog, it's about the alligator. And that leads to the most important thing I'm going to tell you, the thing that I beg you to remember from this. It is not what you say that matters, it's what people hear. There's a reason why I will not sit down. There's a reason why I walk across this stage. Because the more that I walk, the more likely you are to follow. If I look down and I see that you guys are on your phones, like he is right there, I've lost him. You're texting me. How are you texting me? John, you scare me. No pornography. Visual, this is the #1 visual. When you ask people about American pride and patriotism, they choose the Statue of Liberty more than anything else. American pride and patriotism, where is she made? France, and yet we think of her as being American, right? She's got one arm up holding the torch. When I think of the French, I think something more like this. So I need the women who are laughing right here, I need you in the front row, please. Because I just insulted my French people here. So I did this joke in Hong Kong, and this is the proof that some things don't translate. So I told that joke in Hong Kong, and there were a couple of French guys that are sitting about where the two of you are right there. And I knew that I had to come off because they don't have a sense of humor. So they're all upset. I come off the stage, and I'm walking towards them to say I'm sorry and to say something about Lafayette or something nice about how the French gave us our independence. Here's the problem. I got within 10 feet of them, and all I could think of was Peter Sellers and the Pink Panther. So I start to laugh. They're totally offended. They walked right out the center aisle, and I had to say something at that moment, something. So the best I could come up with is, you see the French? They're always in retreat. The Germans thought that was the funniest thing they ever heard. And I'm Jewish, and I'm thinking, this is great. I'm entertaining Germans. So it worked for everybody. Who here is Jewish? Raise your hands. Don't raise your hands. Have you not learned anything from history? Every time someone has asked that question from the stage, it hasn't worked out for you. If you saw the movie, our character doesn't make it to the end. Anyway, this is great because it is at the evening. It is at nightfall. It is such a beautiful picture. It is so stunning, and you don't even see what she looks like, but you know what she represents. I got a question for you, visual. Let me see how many of you get this right. We asked the question, people over age 50, what is the most compelling photograph that shows happiness, that shows joy, life at perfection? Here are your 6 shots. Which one of these do you think people over age 50 picked as being the best visual? How many of you think they picked #1? Raise your hands. Who thinks they chose #2? You know, 15 seconds after that picture is taken, she falls and breaks her hip. Who chose picture #3? So you like airports? Who chose #4? If he chose #4, you're correct. Okay, I know he's in a dorky hat. I know that the clothing isn't so great. But look at the photo. They're holding hands. They're both walking barefoot. It's companionship. It's love. It's what people care about most. There are so many people in the financial services industry in this room that you put all these photographs of people on boats, people in expensive homes. It's not the stuff that matters. As you get older, that will attract people in their 20s and 30s. That doesn't work for people in their 50s and 60s. All they want is love and companionship, but it is so hard to find. That's perfection is #4. And by the way, so you can see statistically, #5, people said to me, well, that's companionship. No, #5 is mosquitoes. These are the 2 best, and I know that Steve Whitten is going to be talking to you all on Friday. These are the 2 best visuals. And why am I starting with visuals? Because everyone in this room is over age 30, and you all think the written word is so essential, and it is the visual that matters. I want you to think visually from this point forward, because if you want to talk and listen and communicate and engage millennials and even Gen Ys, it's got to be visually. It will not be verbally. The shot on the left is his Bellagio, the best hotel shot we have ever tested. And the visual on the right, she's in a hammock. She's got a book laying down. She's got a drink in her hand. She's looking up at the sky. That visual is perfection. Every woman wants to be in that hammock. Every guy wants to be in that hammock with that woman. It works for everyone. Another example. If you're over age 50, you look at this photo and it's a little different for you because it's a blended family. If you're under age 30, you don't see ethnicity. You don't see race. We have changed as a society. So they look at that photo. This is the #1 picture for why people said the American dream, what the American dream visually looks for them. I'll show you another example. This is happiness. Once again, it's camaraderie. It's friendship. It isn't stuff. Take the stuff out of your visuals. You're trying to get people to invest with you. You're trying to get people to buy your stocks or invest in your business, and you're showing stuff. It's camaraderie. It's friendship that matters so much more. The best shot at retirement. It's what everybody wants. They're young, they're vibrant, they're active. You heard the phrase, stop and smell the roses? People know that. And so it connects to them. And by the way, in about 2 minutes, I'm going to stop and take a couple of questions. #1 shot for football. Where is this? Lambeau Leap, right? Green Bay. Do we have any Green Bay fans here? Okay, get out. Here's the amazing thing about this photo. Do you see the happiness of everyone? Look at the smile on the player's face. Do you know why he's smiling that way? Do you see the guy with the green hair? Look where his elbow is. The guy with the purple cap, what's he reaching for? This is what people want in football, is the physical contact. But this is the best photo for men. The #1 photo for women is this one. Look at that kid's face. Is that not the definition of joy? Of sheer excitement? If this were a normal group of people, because you are not normal, if this were average people in this room and there were 50% women, you'd hear the whole room go, ah. But because you're all really successful, you don't have a heart. You guys are basically like Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell went through 8 hours of open heart surgery because it took him 6 hours just to find his heart. That boy, that look on his face is priceless. And that connects, and this is the shot. If you want to sell football with women, that's the shot that does it. We do a lot of beverage, a lot of food work. #1 beverage shot we've ever tested with men, and women hate this. Why do women hate it? Not dirty, he got it right. It makes a mess. For guys, it's just another really cool stain on their carpet. The drink is celebrating, the drink is engaged, the drink, you can taste it. But women see this as being a nightmare. That shot on the left, it's one of the things we have learned. If you want a mom to read an ad, put a boy and his puppy. I don't care what you're selling. Hemorrhoidal cream. You put a boy and his puppy, and a mom will read that because it's, once again, it's. How many of you think the world overall is headed in the right direction? Raise your hands if you think overall the world is headed in the right direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 14. This is a very optimistic, hopeful section of this audience. What is wrong with you? When you look around, you look at the terrorism and the economy, at Europe breaking itself apart, at the Middle East killing each other. They want the boy and his puppy. They want simpler things. They want easier things. They want things that make them feel better about life. Best shot, if you deal with companies, if you deal with employment, it's inclusion. By the way, those of you, I know you all have diversity policies. Change the word diversity to inclusion. Diversity is about politics. Diversity is something you'd hear politicians say. Inclusion is what people want. And I'm going to go through a bunch of words with you in 1 second. They're celebrating her, which is the best thing you can say in terms of employment. If people believe that they are respected, if they believe they have a career over a job, jobs are 9 to 5, careers are for a lifetime. Jobs are something you have to go to. A career is something you want to go to. And yet we keep talking jobs. The public desperately wants careers. These are the pictures that do not work. #1, you don't have photographs of people individually. #2, you don't stick them behind a desk. And #3, nobody wants to sit next to that guy up top. There is a right and a wrong visual that communicates everything. Another example, you see that woman, that guy? I won't tell you which financial services company it is, but this is the single worst shot because everyone knows that they get hit by a car and die. It doesn't work. Who wants to buy financial services from people who are acting so crazy? Another example, does this look like financial? I thought this was a luggage commercial. There's nothing genuine about it. It's not authentic. It could be a cell phone. I know the CEO of BlackBerry is somewhere around. This could be his commercial. That comes from financial services. And there's one more here. This is the single best idea with the worst execution. Being global is brilliant when you're talking about financial services. Where is that dot? What country is that? I thought this was an ad for TWA. I mean, it's just too soon. Most people don't get it, the ones that do boo me, but I tell it anyway because I don't care. This is, once again, this is the idea that they have for what works, and it doesn't. And I am here to challenge you, to do the communication sense of disruption. Why do all of you like to have really big rocks? What does a rock actually signify to the average investor? You know what the answer is? Nothing. It doesn't work. And you've wasted space and you haven't connected to people. Couple more. Okay, dress for success. This is the word. Now I'm going to present to you why I'm an idiot. Because everything that's up here I do not do. Do you want to know how to look when you're trying to sell? Particularly when you're trying to sell for business or financial services. Can you take it back one? In the back there. So we ask the question, who are you going to trust? Because that's the most important attribute. When people decide whether they're going to buy, where they're going to work, you got to be in a suit. So this is why I said to you, wear a tie. Because I've done the research myself. I don't live it. People who know me know that I don't wear a tie. I don't even wear a sport coat. But I know what I got to do. And it is more trusting. Notice the clothing for women and what people trust. Let me show you what doesn't work. The open collar or the polo shirt, the t-shirt. The only time that there's an exception is in Silicon Valley, in the Bay Area, where if you're wearing a suit, people assume that you are not successful, that you come from a bank and you are desperate. The better dressed they are, the more likely you are to be a loser. The more holes in your jeans and torn shirts, the more likely you are to be able to sell. So let me stop. Anything I can answer for you on visuals? Anything from you guys over here? Nothing. Am I boring you? So here's the question. I want to show you some language. I have political stuff since I know some of you care about it. You need to know that I hate it, but I'll do it for you because I'm grateful to be up here. Should I show you about 5 more minutes of language and then we'll go to politics? Is that what you want? Okay. Best example. One of the sponsors of Milken, and I won't use their name, this is their language. What's the problem with the language on the right? It's not about us, the company. It's about you, the investor. When it's time to make a better tomorrow, you can count on us. Guess what? Nobody counts on you. People are afraid of you. Thanks to Bernie Madoff, thanks to all of the problems that have happened to people in this room, they don't count on you because you've made it about you. On the language, you and your, 4 times, it's you and your. I'm guaranteeing you that this is actually the most important slide if you're in financial services. Because if you take a look at your own brochures, and I've been walking through because you guys are spreading them out all over this place, the pictures are bad, but the language is even worse. It is not personalized, it is not individualized, and it is not customized. I'm going to give you another example. On the right-hand side, we have a wide array of products. If your company's mission or purpose, or within the first 5 minutes, you talk about products, do you know what they hear? Profit. So then it's about them and not about you. I want you to take the word product out of, you need to wake him up, he's asleep. Tap on his knee. Dude, there's been a nuclear war and we're all dead. Actually, can you grab me a Diet Coke somewhere or something, just maybe? No, if there's a Coke or something like that, I'd really be great. By the way, I asked for something to drink. This guy immediately grabs his coffee. You are so Milken. This is so incredible. He just like takes it. Product is profit. You're about tools and you're about services. And you're going to see the numbers behind it. There's a significant difference. On the left-hand side, you deserve. Do you realize that no one has ever done a Bill of Rights for investors? Nobody's ever done a Bill of Rights for people who are buying into companies or giving you millions of dollars to invest for them. When you tell them you deserve, you're actually empowering them. You're essentially guaranteeing them that you're going to give them what they're asking for. You deserve is the most powerful language. When you do, if you did it with education, if you actually did it with education, students would read that and say, wow, I am going to get what they promised me. Deserve, you deserve is such a powerful phrase, but finish it. We deliver the right financial tools so you're prepared and protected. By the way, anytime that you have words with P's or T's, words that cause you to spit are the most powerful words of all. Oh, God, you are so great. Pepsi's not a sponsor, are they? I know we've got a former Pepsi executive in here, so he's probably angry with me that I'm drinking this. I can taste the cancer right now. Prepared and protected no matter what the future may bring. Do you see the difference in polling numbers? Language absolutely, truly does matter. I've done this slide here before. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. These, of all the things you want to follow, this is the most important. These are the day-to-day concerns that people have. This is what matters to them. Not taxes, not budgets, not politics, not partisanship. If you provide fewer hassles, better lifestyle, better work-life balance. By the way, men want more money, women want more time. But they all want these. This is what they're looking for. Everything you do needs to be connected to that language. It also needs to respect hard work. It is the #1 attribute of a person defining whether or not they're going to stay in a business. It is the single best predictor of whether they are satisfied and whether they're looking for another job or another career, whether they are respected for their hard work. And I love this one here. So I put this up. I was speaking at the Clinton Global Conference. And Bill Clinton is sitting where you are right now. And I go through this, and I ask the audience, take a look at this list and tell me what you want more of that you don't have enough of. And I said love, and Bill Clinton raises his hand just like that. Think about the significance of that. He realized it in about 2 seconds and went down like this. And I could not leave it alone. I'm like, I'm sorry, Mr. President, but we all saw you. So if you want to, the #1 answer? Nothing. He just wanted me, he goes like this, like continue. And I'm not going to embarrass the President of the United States. By the way, just for the record, we polled 1,000 women. And we asked them, would you have relations with Bill Clinton if you could? 21% said never again. The #1 attribute that people are looking for is peace of mind. Why? Because it's the equivalent of being able to close your eyes and have no fear, and no regret, and no hassle, and no nothing. Peace of mind is so powerful right now. I'm going to skip these because I want to go ahead. Oh, actually, do take it back one. Will you eventually do better or worse than your parents have done? These are for 18 and 29-year-olds. Their parents think that their kids are in deep trouble. And the kids absolutely believe that they're going to be more successful than their parents. One of them is right. But this is one of the great disconnects right now, is 18 to 29-year-olds are so optimistic about the future, and their parents believe that life is going to be really, really bad for them. One of the best ways to communicate, stop doing the negative. Stop doing the negative. One more time, stop doing the negative. What do they really want? Someone who helps you achieve your goals, not someone who protects you, not someone who addresses your fears. We are so negative in a society. We are desperate for someone who reaches for something higher. This is why the politics are so bad in this country. At the very moment that we want to be inspired is the moment that we're being embarrassed. And we will get to that in 1 second. So again, the challenge for you all, how many of you work for a company that's got more than 1,000 employees? Raise your hands. Work with or for. Who works for a company that's got 10 or less employees? You're what they want to do. This is for millennials. Overwhelmingly, they want to work for a company that is a small business because it's more personal and more human to them. By the way, even the definition of the American dream has changed. It used to be about freedom, and now it's about a career. And what I find interesting, Latinos choose owning your own home. Now think about where the greatest disintegration of the economy happened over the last 10 years. Places like Las Vegas and Reno, Phoenix, Arizona, Florida. Latino communities got hurt the most. Anheuser-Busch created this amazing ad because they knew that homeownership was so important. So they had a young woman, and she comes into the living room. She's got a suitcase under one arm, and she's got a plant under the other. And she walks into the living room, and she's in tears. And her mother's there to greet her, and she's crying, and even her father's upset. Why? Because she's leaving home for the last time. So she goes out the door into the street, across the street, up the stairs to the house, right across the street from her parents, grabs the key, opens it up, there's nothing inside the house. She goes to the refrigerator, there's one six-pack of Budweiser in bottles, because that's what Latinos drink their beer. She holds it up to the camera and says, "Mi casa," and the ad ends. It only aired on Univision. If you're Latino living across the street from your parents, it's the American dream. As I said to you before, I'm Jewish. Living across the street from my mother is the American nightmare. You have to be Jewish to understand that joke. So I told you about security, stability, which is the other word that's part of this. If you want to communicate that you provide a safety net, those are your three words: security, stability, and peace of mind. It absolutely connects to people. And so there are three questions. And I know that some of you in this room are into sales. If you really want to understand people, there are three questions that you need to. It's not what you want for the future. It's basically who you are. And I need a microphone for this. So if there's any way for you to run a microphone up to me, good. The three questions. Imagine, which is the most powerful word in the English language. Imagine life at perfection. Where are you? Who are you with? And what are you doing? Imagine life at perfection. If you really want to understand someone, where are you? Who are you with? And what are you doing? So even though you're typing, because you're up here, I'm going to hand this to you. You don't have to come up, but I want them to be able to see you, so if you can turn towards them. And you get the camera shot, so I'll be up here, because this is the only time I'm ever going to be taller than you. Imagine life of perfection. Where are you? What are you doing? And who are you with? So let's do the first one. Where are you?
San Francisco, California.
San Francisco is your life at perfection. Why? They're the meanest people. By the way, seriously, they are the meanest people in America. I charge an extra $2,000 when I do a focus group there. Who here is from San Francisco? You're from San Francisco? Are you mean? No. Liar? Okay, so San Francisco, where in San Francisco?
Right by the Golden Gate Bridge.
Okay, so that's where people kill themselves, by the way. So, okay, so you want to be able to watch people jump and kill themselves. Okay, so who are you with?
My family.
You're with your family, and who's that?
Mom, dad, boyfriend, the crew.
You're with your boyfriend?
Yeah, he's there too. Maybe like today, he's there.
Is your boyfriend in this room?
No.
Is your boyfriend ever going to be in this room?
Yeah.
He might? Is he going to be your boyfriend a year from now?
Who knows?
I think based on how you answered it, I think we know the answer. So now remember, there are children here, so what are you and your family and your boyfriend doing? Life at perfection, imagine perfection, what are you doing?
Anyone who knows, sitting by the Golden Gate Bridge, sunny afternoon, picnic, just laughing, playing
As people are
charades.
killing themselves. You're laughing as people are jumping off the Golden Gate Bridge. Very interesting sense of humor.
We really have installed a whole little barrier recently, so there's a whole new
You
thing.
see, she even knows this. She knows the details behind it. So I will never forget this. So if you come up to me 5 years from now, I'll remember that I gave you a hassle. You'll never forget this. 20 years from now, you're still going to want me dead. This is what, by the way, give her a hand for doing this. And really, you got to take me off the camera. The camera adds 20 pounds, and I added about 30. It's every time I have to see myself up there, all I think of is, thank God I'm not Chris Christie. What's the most dangerous place in New Jersey? It's not Camden, it's not Newark, it's 12 feet between Chris Christie and a buffet. I have 4 more of those, so you better laugh at one of them. You ask the right questions, you get the most powerful results, and you know what? I am shocked at how few people in the business actually ask questions, and worse yet, how few people actually listen. So when you have this conversation, it's not about just asking it, it's about understanding, and it's the second question that matters, and the third question that matters, because that proves that I actually care. A couple more. You admit that markets are unpredictable. Everybody knows it. Admit the truth. Acknowledge the truth. Tell people that you know what's going on. You want to be effective communicators? Part of it begins with telling the truth. And it begins with telling them what they already know. But the bottom part, in good markets and bad, that's safety, that's security, that's peace of mind. That's telling people that you get it, you understand it, and you're acknowledging that there are going to be good times and bad. So here are your 21 words. And I hate when people do it, but if you want to take a picture, go ahead. We already did peace of mind. I'll do 5 of these. I get it. I get it communicates that you understand, you empathize. There's no reason for an argument or a fight. For those of you who disagree a lot with your spouse, use the phrase, I get it, and you have to do it 3 times because they may not hear it the first or the second time, particularly if they're a little hard of hearing. I get it actually works because it calms everybody down. Try it and let me know how, and then I'll send you a bill if it works. Inclusion. Stop with the diversity. I think I said this to you a few minutes ago. Inclusion says that everybody is involved. Inclusion is about unity. Inclusion is about together. All these companies right now are talking about communicating one IBM, one Apple, one Google, whatever, one. The problem with one is that the employee hears that I have to give up my individuality for the sake of the business. When you talk about competing together, it says that I can be myself and I'll add something to the whole process. One means I lose my freedom. Together means I get to be who I am. I'm begging you, for those of you who have different branches, together is so much stronger than one. No surprises, no fine print. One of the worst things right now is what lawyers are doing to business with these contracts that are so long and so complicated that nobody actually trusts anything anymore. Where are my lawyers here? Who's a lawyer? Wow, there's no one in this section, no one over there. We got one lawyer in the front row. Who are you a lawyer for? What company?
Well, I was a lawyer. I'm still a lawyer by training, but I don't work as a lawyer.
You don't work as a lawyer, so you're not a practicing lawyer. I love Dick Cheney for this reason. He could have shot the dog, he could have shot the truck, but he shot the lawyer. And he got the lawyer to apologize for being shot. You have to make things simple. You have to make things personal. And all this fine print that you get in a contract destroys all of that. The idea of no fine print says that you will understand the document, that there's no hassle, no worry. And the longer that you give them, the more that you have to address it, the worse that it gets. 2 more up here. A company has a mission, not a mission statement. A mission is why you exist. A commitment is who you are. If you're the CEO of a company, you're making a commitment in how you serve. By the way, for the military people here, I want to know what the mission is of your branch. I want to know what the mission is of the mission. But an individual makes a commitment. So if you're a CEO in this room, you don't have a CEO statement. It is your personal commitment. That communicates to them that you actually understand your responsibility and you're going to deliver what you promise. So let me see very quickly. I'm going to skip that. Stop talking about better business climate. It's a healthy economy because the business climate is about you. When we're talking about capitalism, please stop talking about capitalism and stop using the phrase crony capitalism because you're destroying support for this. It is far better for you to talk about an opportunity economy that's going to be much, much more effective. And we'll do one more. If you have a CSR effort in your company, they care far more about your morality and your ethics than they do about anything green or carbon. Have a chief ethics officer. That's a far better step for you connecting to the communities that you serve than if you're involved in sustainable business practices. I want to go to the video because I want to play for you now. Any questions while we switch to the video? Yes, sir.
Frank, thanks for all your words of wisdom. Captain Kantar from the Naval Academy. Can you tell us a little bit more about asking good questions? You said that's the way you get all your slides, you get all your information. So I'm interested how you can teach leaders how to ask better questions.
So the
Do that for Mike?
yes, because this. Okay, stop kissing his ass. Who outranks who here?
I do.
You outrank him? Okay, well then that was pathetic. Go ahead.
All right. Thanks again, Captain Kentar from the Naval Academy. My question for you is, how do we ask better questions? Because for all of us that are leaders in the room, to listen better, we have to ask those questions first.
First thing is you actually want to know the answer. So I'm doing Q&A. I really want, I'm like, when I do a Q&A, I'm begging someone to stand up and participate because I want to know what's on your mind. I can't recalibrate until I know. Number two is, when I do a speech like this, I make them keep the lights up so I can see the audience. I cannot see back beyond about the second row of the second section, but I'm looking at people's eyes and I'm watching how they look. So that's why I saw that he was on his phone the entire time. He wasn't taking notes. He was texting for his food delivery at his apartment. My job is to elicit something from you that tells me who you are and what you're about, that tells me what your priorities are. And the best way of doing that is not asking a yes or no question. And the key to the best question is the follow-up and the follow-up to the follow-up. Yes, sir. Microphone's right there. We'll do one more and then I'm going to ads. And I promise you we'll do a little bit of politics.
It's a great question, and he just said it. Yes or no is no good. Always ask questions when you want to elicit an answer. How, what, or why. It's an open-ended question. You can then follow up. You do not, unless you're a lawyer and you're on like direct response and you need to get somebody on the record, always keep an open-ended question. So Frank, when you're asking people questions and you follow up and you have the answer that you need or you don't have the answer that you need or whatever it is you're trying to elicit in information, how do you know then how to collect that information to use for your good? How do you take that data for good purposes or bad purposes?
Best example, and hopefully it's good purposes, is I was the person who asked Donald Trump about John McCain. And I don't know how many of you guys know that. But when he made the comment that John McCain is not a war hero, I was the one who was questioning him. And he made that comment. And I was so shocked by what he said that I assumed at that moment that he was done. I assumed at that moment that unless he apologized, his campaign would be over. Because the obvious follow-up question to that, and I thought of it at the time, was his comment, his response was, he's not a war hero, he got caught. I like the guys who didn't get caught. The correct follow-up to that was, well, what about the guys who got killed? Are they not war heroes? But I didn't do it because I didn't think there was a need to do it. It wasn't a gotcha interview. I wasn't trying to destroy him. I was actually trying to elicit how he felt. Another example was when I asked him, have you ever asked God for forgiveness? So he starts telling me about when he goes to church and he drinks the wine and he eats the crackers. Okay, I'm Jewish and I know they're not crackers. Once again, I didn't find any need to do another follow-up because I thought he communicated everything. I had no idea that what was going to happen ended up happening. So sometimes we don't know. I want a 360. So I keep asking until I feel like I totally understand, that I really understand, and that I could explain it to someone else. That's how I stop. One more? Is there one more here? Okay, right there, and then we're going on to video.
You had a slide up earlier, Frank, about choice and the things that people want. And it all seemed to come down to me about control. And I only saw the word control once on all the slides. I'm just curious why the loss of control, the sense of control, the need
Perfect.
for control, why you're not making more of that?
Because you're in control is one of the most powerful statements, but people don't actually want to exercise it. They want to be in control, but then they want to give up that control to someone else. In the financial community, they want to know that they can make the decisions, but they don't actually want to make those decisions. In politics, they want to feel like the politicians respond to them and respect them and appreciate, value them, but they don't actually want to learn about the details. I had someone who actually said to me, it was 5 days after the Kansas election, and I asked him, who'd you vote for? And they told me that they voted for the independent candidate and said, why did you? The response I got back was, well, I'm not really sure. I said, but you just voted. I know, but I'm doing my research. I'm still doing research on it. I said, but the vote was 5 days ago. She said, but I'm not sure if I made the right decision, so I'm still researching it. This is why our country is so messed up. That's control. She did not exercise it, but she still voted, even if she had no idea what she was doing. So I'm going to play you 3 really, really powerful ads. These are ads that had an incredible impact. In the first ad, it only aired once. It aired during the Super Bowl. And people still talk about it today as being one of the best ads they saw. Again, I know that there's a lot of corporations in here. I want you to see the best of the best. So let's play this first one. So that was shot in the Atlanta airport. And I remember the first time that I saw that ad, and I do not want to really admit that to you guys. But I'm doing the test for it, and I'm watching it. Hold it. Good, I was about to get emotional. You just fixed it. That man has a job, not a career. I was about to have a real human moment with you, and you just thanked you. He actually probably did that, so I didn't. It's how everyone feels. It's really how everyone, it's what they want to say to you all when they see you in uniform. By the way, I think the single best thing that Milken has done in the last 5 years is welcome you guys in uniform. I mean, we're glad that you're here. So the ad resonated with people because it's what they would have done if they could have. This is a second ad. This is the second best testing ad. By the way, the higher the lines climb, the more favorable the reaction. This is the stuff I do, you see me do on Fox for politics. The truth is 98% of my business is corporate. You just see the political stuff. By the way, how many of you watch Fox here? Raise your hands. It's not good. How many of you watch CNN? Still? How many of you watch MSNBC? Pathetic. By the way, MSNBC, the only news network with more letters in its name than viewers. I said that on live television. I got fired the next day, but it was worth it. So this is Google, and I'm going to ask you why this ad is so powerful and so memorable. Please play it. Why is that ad so good? Why is that ad so powerful? Because the dad did it. Exactly. Everyone assumes that it's mom writing about the child. And then when you see dad, the number one thing a spouse wants from her husband more than anything else, even more than a close relationship with her, is a close relationship with their children. And that ad comes out of left field. They're not expecting it, and that's what makes it so powerful. And I'm going to give you one more example because the CEO was here. He still may be here. I don't know. But this is Pfizer, and once again, this is a surprise. This has been dialed, but I'm showing you the original because it's very dark. Let's roll this one. I'm going to ask you to go to the political section. You're going to have to jump about 4 or 5 ads. You can do well when you pull it off of the. Oh, actually, you know what? This is so funny. I want you to see this. See, you were not expecting that to be what it was. So we showed this. This ad is brand new, and we showed it, and we had 7 of the 29 people in the room crying when the lights came back on. It's so powerful. Y'all can do this if you want to. Y'all can create that kind of emotional, impactful advertising that does make a difference in the reputation of the country, in the company. One more business one, and then for the last 9 minutes, we'll do politics. This one is great because it's so good for baseball. Play it. Let's do politics for the last 6 minutes of this thing. I'm going to ask you applause. Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump? Just by applause. If you had to choose Clinton or Trump, who chooses Clinton? Who chooses Trump? Ivanka's sitting right in front of me right here. I don't know if you guys know, but all 3 of Donald Trump's wives are immigrants, which is proof that there are some jobs only an immigrant will do. I'll let you think about that for a minute. We have become so angry, and if you can pull up the first Trump video, that'd be great. If you can't, just let me know. We have become so angry with politics. I want to give you something that you can hold on to. Donald Trump wins voters, wins working class voters who believe that they have been forgotten, who believe that they have been left behind. And there are tens of millions of people who fall into this category. people with incomes between 35 and 55,000, individuals that may have gone to a community college or may have barely graduated from school that were expecting more out of life than what they got. And they tend to be in their 50s and 60s, and they believe that they cannot possibly go forward, that they are trapped where they are, and they're angry about it, and they believe their kids are going to be just as trapped. So he's winning those. He's losing Latinos by more than any Republican has ever lost the Hispanic vote. He's losing 18 to 29-year-olds who love Bernie Sanders and can deal with Hillary Clinton. And he's losing women, particularly women 35 to 49. I used to call them middle-aged women until I got heckled for doing it. So I'll let you define how old middle age is. That's up to you. But women have turned against him because of the language that he's used. And they find it so angering and so offensive. She has got the highest unfavorability rating of any Democratic nominee ever. Only 26% believe that she's got the integrity to be president. The last time that happened, never. You have the two most unpopular candidates in the history of politics, and they're going to be the nominees. So allow me to play one commercial which I think encapsulates, I see it below me, this perfectly encapsulates what this election is all about. Let's turn up the sound and play it. So the challenge for him is going to be to overcome that, and I don't necessarily believe he can. At this point, I do believe that Hillary Clinton's going to be the next president, and I think that the Democrats have at least a 50-50 shot of taking the Senate, because if you vote for Hillary Clinton, you're absolutely voting for the Democrat, for a Senate, and for the House. But there are Trump voters who are going to vote against the Republicans because he's teaching them that Washington is so bad. The Bernie Sanders message is about Wall Street. The Trump message is about Washington. And that anti-Washington message, unless Trump changes it very quickly, which I don't believe he will, I think that that's going to reverberate in lower ballot races. But I will tell you this, I want to own the pay-per-view rights globally. That debate is going to be the best debate ever. Trump has already said, this is not my language, don't yell at me. Trump has already said, if she can't satisfy her husband, how can she satisfy America? He said it publicly. What do you think he's going to say during the debates? And the things that he said are so remarkable. So in the last few seconds, can I answer any questions for you on the presidential campaign? Yes. Microphone. Oh, hold on.
One of the big discussions is whether Trump can turn around that issue, or his image, let's say. Paul Manafort talked about how Hillary can't change character. It's a lot easier to change style than character. How would you assess that? Because that's kind of what you're into in a way, is image and style. I've
watched him. I think if anyone can make it happen, Paul Manafort can. I think Manafort's the best in the business. He has the best understanding, and he's tough. And he knows how to make things happen, and Trump is a horrible organization outside of him. But I watched Donald Trump, and I question whether he can do it. They tell me it's absolutely possible. You can't get me to put on a suit. I have not worn shoes in 11 years. No matter how much you offer me, I will not wear shoes. I wear these, by the way, I don't know if you guys have seen these sneakers, but I wear these because I've gained a lot of weight since I first started coming here, and I got tired of people pointing to me, and now they will go, gee, Frank, look at you. You've gained so, look at those shoes. And so it gets people to look away from the fact that I've gained weight. It's a technique, and it does work. I don't think Trump can do that. He's have to prove it to me that he can. And if he doesn't do it, then he will do worse among women than any Republican has done, and then he loses. Yes, sir. And there's a microphone coming to you right now.
Frank, if you were advising Donald Trump...
I would tell Donald Trump to hire you. The first thing I would do is I would tell him, I don't know if you guys know who he is, John Scully. The first thing I would do is I would tell him to hire you. Although I'd actually tell him to hire Jeff Daniels, because he played Scully in the movie, and he plays a better you than you. But anyway.
I think you're right. If you were going to advise Donald Trump to give him a winning strategy that he could actually win the campaign, what would you tell him, and assuming that he would follow you?
The first thing I would do is I would tell him to do an interview with Leslie Stahl on 60 Minutes, because she's honest. She will ask him tough questions. She won't try to destroy him. She won't try to help him. She'll try to get the real Donald Trump out. And I would need that 12 or 13 minutes on a show that everybody watches, everyone over age 40 watches, So I would have him go on that show. The second thing is when he would stand up at the convention, I would have him do it without a podium. I'd have him do it without notes, because that's how his speeches are. I would obviously have him prepared. She cannot deliver a speech without a teleprompter. Donald Trump, Stevie Wonder reads a teleprompter better than Donald Trump. So I want him to come off the podium and come into the audience and actually say that I prepared my entire life in business to be able to talk to you from the heart, not from somebody else's script. You do Leslie Stahl, and that candor, and that sets the process to potentially a successful campaign. One more. You got the last one? Actually, can I do two more? So you get a microphone, and then as soon as he's done, come up here. Go ahead.
Do you think Hillary will ever have charges brought against her?
Hillary Clinton will not be indicted. There is no way that Barack Obama would allow the last 8 months of his administration to be under indictment. And he's got the last question here. And they took the microphone away, so I'll repeat it.
The last question is, you started this saying you didn't see this was positive, you weren't going to open with a joke. What does it look like 4 years from now based on the trajectory?
It's a great way to end this. Your kids are going to be less civil because of this campaign. Your kids are more likely to talk back to their teachers. You're more likely to lose a friend discussing politics. That we have lost a focus on intellectuality and civility in this craziness. 4 years from now, I can't even imagine how bad it'll be. I don't know what it's going to be 4 months from now based on these debates. We have a responsibility to each other. This is a great country, and democracy is absolutely the best form of government. But the only way that it works is if we listen to each other, and we engage each other, and we seek the opinions of those who we do not agree with so that we learn from each other. I'm on the right of the spectrum. I watch MSNBC. More of my friends are Democrats than Republicans. I want to hear all this, and I want to ask questions. No one does anymore. It's hard, I'll tell you something, which I should not acknowledge. My focus groups are a nightmare because I can't get them to stop yelling at each other when I have to go to commercial break. They're saying in my ear, get out, get out, get out, and I'll have 4 or 5 people yelling at each other, and I can't cut it off. That's what this campaign has been about. We deserve better. We deserve candidates who could stand up here and explain to you without notes where they stand and why. We deserve people who will look us straight in the eye and tell us the truth. We deserve people that we can teach our children that these are people that you want to emulate, that they're still our heroes in America. Which is why I would love to have someone in uniform someday run again like Eisenhower did. We have that right. We have to demand it. We have to demand more from politics. We have to demand more from the people who are in office, and I hope you all will do it. I'm always grateful. Please, and when you see Mike Milken, please thank him, because the opportunity to do this, to share this with you, is the best opportunity I have all year, and I'm grateful that you all came to listen. Thank you all very much. That way.